Welcome to CK Sports Talk on 99.1 CKXS. CK Sports Talk is brought to you in part by Canada Business Services, the Chatham-Kent Sports Network, and 99.1 CKXS.
All right, Mr. Moynihan, what a thrill for us. We have former Wallaceburg Titan Shaun Suisham and his lovely bride, Erin, in studio, and a big thrill for you and I.
Absolutely, Pete. Shaun, Erin, thank you so much for joining us. Shaun, an 11-year veteran. It's hard to call you a veteran of the NFL. 2014, you had an incredible season. 29 of 32 field goals, 91%. That's incredible. Tell our listeners, what's your status right now?
Sure. So I'm a husband and dad. Unfortunately, not a kicker right now. A knee injury, and I'm continuing to rehab and see where that takes us, but I certainly wasn't ready for the beginning of the season.
And, we hear so much about the Pittsburgh culture. I know my neighbors down the street every year go to Pittsburgh. They love that area. Tell us about being a professional athlete in Pittsburgh. What is it like? What's the culture of that great sports town?
Sure. So to speak specifically about the Steelers organization, they're wonderful. They provide an environment where, as an athlete, all you have to do is prepare to win a football game. And I've been part of other organizations where, because they don't have this stability, it's sometimes a fear-based model, and it's because people are scared for their jobs, like anyone. It's not like any occupation where if there's a chance you're going to lose your job and things aren't going well and the place is losing money, people start to act differently. And, it's great when you're a player and you don't have to deal with that.
Shaun, Mr. Moynihan and I are Detroit Lion fans, and we've suffered for many years, but,
Sure.
they've got...
and likely many more.
But anyhow, head coach Jim Caldwell, I just think he's a real class act. But I love to watch Mike Tomlin on the sidelines. He's animated. He's in the game. Share with our listeners, what's Mike Tomlin like?
So first and foremost, why do you guys continue to do that to yourselves? Just cheer for the Steelers. Nobody's going to think less of you. You'll enjoy yourself. You'll be happier. But when you talk about that, Mike Tomlin is a tremendous leader. He's the best I've ever been around. I've played for Bill Parcells, Joe Gibbs. He's tremendous. He doesn't waver. He doesn't fear failure, and I love that.
Great. Well, he just looks like such a class act. Tell us about your first training camp. Here you play football for the Wallaceburg Tartans, and we're going to talk about your early days in a few moments. Off to Bowling Green University, and all of a sudden you get a chance to go to an NFL training camp. Shaun, tell us about that first experience. Where was it? What was it like? And share with us.
So to backdate a year, in 2004, I was drafted by the Ottawa Renegades, and I felt like I was probably CFL bound. And after my 2005 season, Erin and I, we were sitting on a couch, this old nasty-looking couch that we had in college, and just hoping for a phone call. I just bought a cell phone, probably a month before that, to be prepared to be able to provide a number. And after the draft, I got a call from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and just over the moon. I remember they gave me a $3,500 signing bonus, and they had no business giving me that. I would have paid them to go. What an exciting time for us to get to go into camp there.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they didn't keep you that year, did they? Tell us about that experience. How did they communicate that to you? And then I know, your future does take you to Dallas and to Washington. What did those experiences look like too?
Sure. Kicking is a very absolute position. And, kicking is the best job in the world until you miss. So when you're a young kicker, you have very limited opportunities. And when you do get those opportunities, you have got to make good on them, or you're going to be out of work. For me, I was in a position competing against a guy who had tenure there, and Jeffrey he had done a great job, just got a new contract. So I was well aware that I wasn't going to make the team there, but the opportunity was still awesome for me. So I had one field goal attempt in preseason that year, and thankfully I made it. Probably the most significant field goal of my career, really. So I had one opportunity. If I didn't make that kick, I'm probably not going to get another shot. It was a 46-yarder probably. It was an ugly-looking kick, but it went through. And because of that, I had an opportunity to try out for the Cowboys in 2005, and just another opportunity that turned into a year and a half of work on the practice roster and the regular roster. 2006 with Mike Vanderjack, and the two of us split time for a while, released, and that led me to San Francisco for a week and then to the Redskins.
Tremendous. And let's talk a little bit about your past here in Wallaceburg. Growing up in the Burg, what sports did you play? What other interests did you have here growing up as a kid in the Burg?
So I grew up with an awesome family, exceptional parents and sisters, and they always provided me the opportunity to play sports. So I played hockey growing up, started at a young age. Actually, they started me in figure skating, which I'm not happy about. I was a glowworm when I was 4, and my mom loves to show that picture. And now Erin loves it. So I played hockey, figure skated briefly, very briefly, and I wasn't wearing figure skates though. They were hockey skates, I think. I grew up swimming. Spent a lot of time in the pool. We had a pool at our house, and that was important to Mom, and I'm grateful for that. And played soccer my whole life. And then playing hockey, I ended up playing for the Lakers. And also I played football. I started because of Uncle Rob McLaughlin. He convinced me to play. I had no interest, zero interest in playing football going into grade 9, and he convinced me to play. I remember the offensive line coach, Zondag.
Donnie Zondag.
He's awesome. I still remember this, and I don't have a great memory, but some of these points in my life have been pretty important, and they're kind of etched in my mind. He took one step back and one step over, like the steps were important. Steps mean nothing unless you're doing the same thing over and over again. So, but I took one step back and one step over, and I made my first kick. And you're like, all right, you're our kicker. Throughout high school, I never practiced the art of kicking ever. I played other positions. I played safety and receiver, and kicked and punted. And my last season, I made some long kicks, and Uncle Rob kept saying to me, I think you've got a shot to do this. And I didn't understand the scale of the opportunity going to the U.S. to go to school for free and to play football. And with the help of my parents and a lot of other people, sent the old VHS tapes out. Bowling Green was the first school to offer me a scholarship, so that was midway through the year, so we finished our season, I'm guessing probably in November, and I was enrolled at Bowling Green January 9th of 2000.
I love the story you were sharing with us earlier prior to our interview about Uncle Rob. He always had tremendous football teams, well prepared, but that final year, you shared earlier field goals that you kicked in that year, and he thought, boy, this is going to be the ticket. Share that with our listening audience.
Sure. Well, I had great protection from the offensive linemen. Boys, I can't remember everybody that was out there, but thank you. Long snapper and holder. Pete Cram was actually my holder. He did a great job. And the last 3 weeks of that season, kicked a 52-yard field goal, 57, and then 58-yard field goal. And that was really, I didn't even understand pressure or the situation then. I was just playing a game and kicking. And it took a while to come full circle with being able to do that again as a professional, because it's a difficult transition. But once I finally could get back there, it sure makes things a lot easier.
Well, Pete, I had two nephews, I think, playing in that final game, Pat and Ryan. And that 58-yarder at UCC has really become sort of an urban legend around here. It was against the wind. It was uphill. There was two
Dogs
stray
running
dogs
on
on the field. A cheerleader passed out. Like, it's just urban legend. So people, very vividly remember that great performance that you had here. Listen, something I have to ask you. I know you're a big sports fan, and as we've alluded to already, Pittsburgh is a dynamic sports community. Saw you on Hockey Night in Canada with Don Cherry, Ron McLean, I believe, of course, in the playoffs, and Pittsburgh had that tremendous playoff run this year. Tell us about that experience with the great Don Cherry.
The highlight of my professional career. It was awesome. So I went, we were watching pregame skate, the Stanley Cup Finals, and my buddy Colby Armstrong.
Yes.
You know Colby?
yeah.
Yes.
So he's my good good buddy. He's awesome. Our kids play hockey together.
Oh, wow.
So because of him, and he's now in media, he's doing TV and radio. He has a connection with those guys, and so he set it up for me. So I went there pregame skate, spent about half an hour with the two of them, Ron and Don, and what a thrill for me. Awesome guys.
And do you get to many Penguin games? Is there an opportunity for that? Please don't tell us you went to a Stanley Cup final game.
So we were at almost every playoff game this year. The Penguins organization has taken very good care of our family. What an awesome organization. We talk about the Steelers being
Sure.
great, and the Penguins are right there with them. We were at all the games. We brought the kids. Our little girls they would scream their heads off.
Oh,
It was so fun.
envious.
It was so fun.
fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, because I did pick early on our show, by the way, and we're not bragging or anything here, but I did pick Pittsburgh to be the sleeper in the playoffs. I just wanted to get that out there.
Did you pick
for
them like in the Stanley Cup final?
I picked them to the Stanley Cup final, and very early. We always do a sort of a projection show. We just did one a little while ago for baseball. I think we're both in trouble, Pete, on that.
Yeah.
But anyways,
No, I got Cleveland. Cleveland's doing well.
and I have the San Francisco Giants, so there you go. Listen, I have to ask you, and your lovely wife Erin is here, and I know you are dedicated parents. We've heard a lot about this, and really dedicated family people. Erin, tell us, what is it like on game day? It must be a challenge and difficult. Shaun's setting up for a 45-yarder. Tell us about that.
Well, if you've never sat in the stands at a Steelers game, it is very intense and it's very loud. So when we have a home game, I'm always there, and I'm always praying before kicks, probably like many of you at home. And I have this thing I do, I call my prayer hands. I put my hands up. So last year, when Shaun got hurt and things weren't necessarily going so well at the start of the year for the Steelers, the other wives on the team that said, well, we started doing your prayer hands, Erin, and we were hoping that would help him.
Oh, tremendous.
But when he's away, I watch the games at home just like everybody else does.
Oh, for sure. You haven't broken a big screen TV, like a vase hasn't gone through the big screen TV yet, or
I
anything?
have two little sets of eyeballs on me when we watch games. So if I didn't have my little girls watching, that could have happened before. But I try to keep it in check.
And Erin and Shaun, tell us a bit about your family. I know you have a couple of girls, and I know you were just talking about how you take them to the Penguin games and how they play some hockey. Tell us a little bit about your family, because we hear you're such dedicated parents, and what's it like being a family man?
Well, thank you for saying that. And being a husband and a dad is far more important than kicking field goals. Provides wonderful perspective in life. I'm very proud of being a good dad. I have an awesome relationship with my girls, and it thrills me. Our 4-year-old right now, all she wants to do is stuff with her dad, and sometimes I act like I'm not that, like, oh, sorry, honey, but I'm like, inside of me, I love it. I absolutely love it. So right now the kids are 4 and 7, Sienna and Stella, and they're in hockey and gymnastics, and we're having fun, and I'm about to become their hockey coach here, the little 66ers, coming up in September.
Oh,
Wow, Mario Lemieux. There you go.
Well, it's fantastic. Well, listen, Shaun and Erin, you are such class acts. You've represented our community tremendously. We joke about being Lion fans, but that's where we get tickets to. So I guess we have to, Pete. But trust me, many people, including ourselves, follow the Steelers very closely and are just thrilled with your success. So thank you so much for joining Pete and I on CK Sports Talk.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So, anyhow, for my partner in crime, Mr. Shaun Patrick Moynihan, for my producer, Mr. Corey North, who'll be heading south to Ridgetown, that is, my name is Peter Cobb, saying so long.
Thanks for listening to CK Sports Talk. Tonight's show is brought to you by Canada Business Services, the Chatham-Kent Sports Network, and 99.1 CKXS. For more local sports news and information, log on to the Chatham-Kent Sports Network at cksn.ca.